when I grew up, we had a really insane universe. People played games, some won, some lost. People took tests, some passed, some failed. There was no concern for creating the illusion of self-esteem by not having grades or not winning games. You built your self-esteem by trying to win. And when you didn't win, you had coaches there helping you understand your achievements anyway.
Let me give you my personal opinion about the education system.
Go.
Okay.
You're in it, so you know better than me.
So let me talk about my parents. My parents went to school, Catholic school, nuns, Catholic high school. You do something wrong, they hit you on the hand. There's no deviation. It's their way or you're gone. So let's say that some really smart people came out of that system and said, well, I didn't like the way they treated me, so I'm going to do a study and now let's change education. So then they go and they change the education system. Here comes the next generation. During now this change. Well, I didn't like the way that I was educated. So let's go and find some research and change the system again. So I think that I was taught in my self-esteem wasn't built at all. It was, you will learn this because you have to, and you're going to take some tests, and then you're going to graduate, and you're going to go to college. You know that.
And if you don't pass the test, you either take some school or you stay back.
Yeah. So, and I think that all of a sudden parents became concerned with their child's self-esteem, which yes, there is some other issues, society issues that came up, but when it comes down to it, your child still needs to learn and still needs to pass. And I think that it's a lot of previous generations didn't like the system, so made changes to it, and the changes aren't necessarily for the better.
And because I mean, there's my own personal opinion. I think that you build self-esteem by doing things, by having little successes or even failures if they're understood properly. And so I am. Listen, these people have been watching me since 1974. They know that politically correct, dedicated. That one person that's still there. They know that I am not politically correct. I don't believe in it. I think it's a hindrance. I think it gets in the way of us making progress. It's like unintended consequences. And I don't want to get on a soapbox or anything. I have a tendency to do that. You'll start to see that. But the thing is, when the immigrants came in before, they came into the country, nobody was there to greet them, to hand them this, and this. They had to do for themselves. And you know what? That generation did not make it to college. It was either their kids or the next generation that made it to college.
So then their kids didn't like the way that their parents were treated, and they set out to change the system.
No, but what I'm saying is that sometimes you have to work for more than, not everybody gets there.
You do.
And sometimes it's this generation only opens the door for the next one, and then the next one. And this is where the grandchildren is the one that really reap the benefit of this. Now we live in a society where everybody's supposed to have everything at once. There's no passing, there's no feeling, there's no benefit, there's no hardship, there's no innovation, there's no self.
There isn't. I got it. No, and you're right, there's not. And it's very disheartening. It's very disheartening to know that the rigorous education that I received is not the same one that I'm giving, because my students aren't at the cognitive level to receive it.
That's not good.
No. Many of our high school graduates will have to take remedial classes in English and math in their first year of college. That's not good.
Now,
and then you go down this, and everybody wants to place blame. The college instructors say the high school teachers aren't doing what they're supposed to do, and the high school teachers say, well, the middle school says the elementary school. And yes, there are cracks and problems in that process from kindergarten on up, so it's a collective fault.
All right.
But there's also the majority of the issues are the parents.
That's what I was waiting for, because
there's very little parent involvement.
Yes. I mean, it's like, well, we'll just send them off, and then you'll teach them, and then send them back to us smart. And what is that? Yes, you'll raise them.
Yes.
That's not right. That can't be.
For the record, my job is to teach, not raise your child.
Yes, and they have to be involved. I think that's the biggest single problem. And listen, right now, everybody at this particular time, as we're taping this today, everybody's up in arms about, Wisconsin and the teachers and the unions, and everything else, and that is a manufactured crisis, and that bothers the hell out of me.
I have no idea what you're referring to.
Well, there's something. No, that's what.
I feel kind of stupid.
No, don't feel stupid. No, but there's something going on in Wisconsin right now where the Democratic Party and the unions are manufacturing a crisis because the governor has $3 billion shortfall, and he would like them to participate a little bit. Remember we talked about this one time? A little bit in their health care, a little bit in their pension funds, and they want to change collective bargaining so that you can collective bargaining salaries, but not all the perks and benefits, because that's what is killing every state in the union and at the federal government.
Let me put it this way.
Go.
Okay?
Sure.
I go to a dentist. You're my dentist.
Okay.
And I
you
say,
poor thing.
I say, I'm going to pay you based on how many cavities I don't have. So if I come in and I have a mouthful of cavities, you lose money. So I'm telling you, your paycheck is based on my cavities, not whether if I don't take care of my teeth, you're not going to get money. So that's what we're talking about with teachers. Like, people don't understand that we're trying to run we're trying to run education like a business.
Well, yeah, but
you can't.
No, and I understand. And the reason, and let me just say on your behalf, I think that what the problem is we haven't found the proper vehicle to judge or track teachers' success and failure. We don't have the proper means to do it yet because there's variables.
Not possible.
Well. There's got to be a way, because one of the things that I really respected in you is that even you are aware of the fact that we have bad teachers and you can't get rid of them.
We do have bad teachers. Yes, we do have bad teachers.
So we got to find a way.
And you can't get rid of them because of the unions, and there's issues with that. But also, the unions are what are protecting our salaries and our livelihood.
Okay, now, all they're trying to do in Wisconsin is change collective bargaining so that you can still do salaries. They still fight for you. They'll still protect you. They'll still do all this stuff. But they want to control. They don't want you to have the control of the benefits, where you can say, well, now we're going to give. We have people that are getting hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I think that we, as most other businesses, should participate in paying for our benefits. But you also then might have to change some of the language in your state constitutions or wherever that is, because as a public teacher, I am a federal employee. I'm a government employee.
Yes, see, now I don't go.
So if all government employees don't have to pay for their benefits, why are you telling me I have to when the post office doesn't and the governor doesn't and the state senators don't?
And let me tell you, sweetheart, they should.
You know what I mean?
They should.
So I think that's not knowing the issue and the complete issue in Wisconsin, but there's some problems
there. That's
a
valid point. But
there's huge problems in Florida too with Governor Rick Scott.
Well, okay, now we can talk about that because he is trying to do some things. But I thought, tell me if I'm right or wrong, that all he wanted to do was bring the donation part of pension and health into what is average or normal or a little bit less than normal for the private sector.
From my understanding, Governor Rick Scott took away some of the state budget money for education, took it away, and is using it to help build his staff, his cabinet.
Okay, but now that could be.
That's what I mean. I try not to follow a lot of this stuff.
No, and I understand.
Because all it does is create panic and stress.
Okay, and not just
and
that.
Anxiety, and I got other things. I have 180 students I have to worry about.
Okay, and another thing too, a lot of time, and you may not, please forgive me for this illustrative example, but I have watched so much garbage be said about Sarah Palin that I don't accept anything at face value anymore. Because where I have read things and then read the description of those things. So like you don't know the whole thing in Wisconsin, I don't know the whole thing with Rick Scott, so I can't say yes or no.
I don't know the whole thing with Rick Scott either.
Okay, and the thing is, what is unfortunate is one of the most key ingredients to a successful America has been lost, because the free press was a very pivotal part of our country's governing unit, let's say. And we used to have a free press that reported
everything.
Both sides.
And now they're not.
And now they're not. They don't want to, because they have an agenda. They want to slant the story. And believe me, I had a friend of mine, Ted. He said to me, he says, if I can interview you any way I want, just by the questions that I choose to ask you, do you still beat your wife? Okay. You can't undo that question.
No, once it's asked.
The
idea is out there.
And that was the point that Teddy was making to me. He says, if I can interview somebody, I can pretty much get you to say what I want you to say, and the choice of words are very important. You could say, and I've watched this happen where conservative, la-di-da-di-da, bum 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 bum, did this, that, and the other thing, and I've watched the same report, John Teal. And you notice what's missing? No liberal or conservative label, because it wasn't in the reporter's desire to highlight the fact that this is probably somebody that he supports. Okay, and that's to me that's a real tragedy. And I will say that you won me over on this teachers thing, in the sense that while, and even we admit there's a problem. But I'm going to admit we don't know the solution yet.
No, there isn't a solution.
Well, there has to be a solution. We haven't found it yet. Okay, and the reason I say there has to be a solution is because you and I would both know good teachers and bad teachers when and if we saw them. Okay, so if we can tell, then there's got to be a way to tell. And the sad thing about it is, they want to do it through a repeatable, documentable process.
Did you know that they want half of the teacher salary, half of the teacher evaluations based on student achievement?
Yeah, but you can't do that, because if the parents aren't involved with that kid don't have a prayer.
I know, but this year, half of my evaluation.
We're going to finish this conversation on the beginning of next week's show, and then we're going to move along. Bye.